Hey everybody, Syntax77 here. As you can see, got myself a map here and just hanging out in the backyard doing a little planning for the next trip. Always a fun endeavor, and the area I'm planning on going this time, finally, is the Great Smoky Mountains. I'm going to finally try to do a trip out there. And I've never been there for backpacking overnight trip before. This will be my first experience with it. I've mentioned trying to get there before and kind of put it off, but finally going to try to do it. So I've been doing the usual routine, looking at maps, of course, reading whatever I can get my hands on, going on the internet, you know, looking around at forums and Googling for all kinds of fun stuff. But then I got to thinking, I have a pretty good amount of virtual friends on the internet here, and they know a lot more than I do, so why not maybe ask you guys for some ideas about a backpacking trip to the Smoky Mountain National Park. Now obviously got viewers from a lot of different places in the country as well as the world, but figure some of you have made trips there before, may be familiar with the area, have some favorite areas that you would recommend, or even if you've never been there, maybe you wish you could go someday and you've looked into it and you're just aware of some cool places that maybe you can bring to my attention and we can get a video done on it. Now, one thing a little bit different, I usually do the 2-day routine where I leave after work and then do 2 solid days and come back. I'm going to switch things up since I've been putting this trip location off for so long. I'm going to finally maybe do a 3-day trip. Well, of course I had to plan it out now, didn't I? So day 0, I would actually work that day, and then I'll hop in my car and drive down, do the whole sleep in my car routine. This will actually be pretty similar for me. It should be about a 9-hour trip in the opposite direction. Usually I go 9 hours north towards New England, so driving time wise it'll be similar for me. I'll just be going southwest instead of northeast. Day 1, I should get a nice early start, and I'm looking to maybe do an average of around maybe 15 miles a day for these 2 days, and then on the day 3 that I come back, like 10 miles. So I'm trying to find a loop. Usually makes for better filming, a little more interesting. Well, even if you're just hiking by yourself, it's a lot of times more interesting to do a loop because you're constantly seeing some new stuff. So if anybody has any ideas for loops, I know in the Smokies there's not a lot of official loops, loop hikes, but there is a huge network of trails out there. So making your own loop, or making my own loop, definitely should be something that I can pull off. But you know, it's just finding the right combination and figuring out where to go. We'll even flip this guy over. This is the west side of the park here. And that's another thing. Do I choose to go to the west side or the east side, or you know, what? Anybody know out there, you know, what's kind of the prettiest section of the park from your perspective? If you haven't seen my videos before, or if you have, you may have realized by now, I kind of like to do a combination of really cool views, but at the same time I like doing remote stuff. I don't really want to be around a whole ton of a lot of people. Makes for more solitude and a better video, honestly. And campsites and stuff, kind of like to just kind of do my own thing. So I will be taking a hammock for this trip. Somebody actually asked recently, where's the hammock? We're gonna bust it back out. So campsite wise, if you know of any locations, it doesn't have to be a real campsite. You know, there's plenty of these numbered campsites all over the place. Some of them are reservations, some aren't. Another thing I have to look into, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that I'm staying at the campsite, because with that hammock I'll have some decent mobility and ability to set up in some less obvious places. So that's something that I'm keeping in mind when I'm planning this as well. I don't really know yet if I'm even going to go to Tennessee or North Carolina, because the park does split between those 2 states, so that'll be something for me to look into. Appalachian Trail is a big part of Smoky Mountains National Park. Don't know necessarily that I am super worried about having to hit that. In fact, it's not the end of the world if I don't, because it's a little more beaten path, and A lot of the through hikers have already made their way through. It is it's May right now, so I'm planning to go within the next month. So we're looking at like a spring trip here, which will allow me to travel lighter, hence the hammock. So I won't be really too worried about a lot of through hiker traffic, but it's still a popular area, so maybe I'm going to lean towards, like I said, a little more remote trail. But I just got to look into this stuff. So you're catching me at the beginning of my planning phase. You can see this is kind of interesting here. I'm not sure about this trail, Lakeshore Trail, that seems to go along Fontana Lake here. That's interesting, and then meets up with the Appalachian Trail. So I could use the Appalachian Trail as part of a more remote loop or something like that. Hannah Mountain Trail. There's just all kinds of different options. So basically I'm asking for your help and feedback on this one. Feel free to post in the comment section below any trip ideas you have, any trips you've done in the past, or maybe your friends told you were cool. Even if you've already done a trip and you have a video that already exists, feel free to post it as a video response. We'll just get a whole mishmash of trip ideas and conversation going here on Smoky Mountains National Park. I know I'm looking forward to finally getting down there, so we'll see what we can come up with. I'm gonna get back to researching and look forward to hearing from you guys. So till next time, I'm Syntax77, and have fun out there.